So, first of all, Councillor Larkin, our special guests, Gordon Jays and Tony Humphreys, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honour, a pleasure, and indeed a privilege to address you this morning at this Childcare conference. And I suppose yesterday we looked out at the weather and it wasn't so good, but thankfully things have brightened up this morning. So we're very much looking forward to an inspirational day. Just to, first of all, maybe to talk a little bit about the programme. I suppose how the conference came about is the County Childcare Committee are over 10 years in existence now, and over the past 3 years, this is the third of a triumvirate of conferences. We've got together agencies, providers, and we've tried to look at the childcare agenda and try to move it forward. We're now in existence 10 years, and what we wanted to do this morning, first of all, was maybe just to look at how things have been going within the sector and the different developments. And I suppose we'd particularly like to welcome this morning all the different providers, people who are working within the field. We'd like to welcome the agencies and organisations that support the development of childcare. I'd also like to welcome all the different students that we have here, and indeed our special guests, staff and management. I suppose if we look at the title of the conference this morning, it's I Belong, Yesterday, Today and Tomorrow. And if we look at yesterday I suppose is very much a time when we reflect on things that have happened. And in terms of today, we try to celebrate what we have within the childcare sector. And when we look at tomorrow, what we want to do is shape the development in the future of childcare. And I suppose childcare has developed very much in Ireland over the last number of years. I know if you taking myself back to my own childhood in the sort of mid to late 60s, Ireland was very much a different place. And indeed, what we meant by childcare was maybe the older brother and sister or the granny or granda looked after the children within the family when the mother might have went out to get a bucket of water from the well. That was what we meant by childcare. It's totally different to what we now experience now. And if we talk to our own parents and how Ireland has changed, they'll tell you stories, and I know my own mother, about going to school in the bare feet and carrying a sod of turf in the hand. And that was the reality for Ireland. And we talk now about a recession, and we talk about Ireland being a difficult place to live in at the minute, and times are hard. But if we look at the children in Ireland today and the way the economic situation, I suppose we as an Irish people now, we have probably more than any of our ancestors or our predecessors ever had. So, you know, we might think that things are bad, but at the same time, we have a lot to be grateful for. I suppose, too, if we look at how childcare has developed, like in the early 70s, there was a marriage ban. So if somebody took up a post, or if somebody got married and they were working within the public service or that, what they had to do, they had to resign their job. And if we talk to young people about that at the minute, where a female had to resign her job if she got married and she was working in the public service, they think, you know, that this happened hundreds of years ago. It was only in the 70s. So childcare has very much changed, and the need for childcare was established as, I suppose, women in particular started to go out to work, and in households, two people started working, and there was a need for childcare then. I suppose within the county here then, like Avril Swinney, our manager, will be talking to you about different developments then. Our County Childcare Committee came from the Strategy Development Group. I suppose that's where it originated from, and then the Department of Health and Children at the time decided that they were going to set up different childcare committees on a county-wide basis. And Val O'Kelly, I think in year 2000, from what I can remember, the childcare manager at the time, called the first meeting of it. I suppose then, if we look at all the different investments and the fine facilities that now adorn our county in all places far and wide, although we have facilities that do need improvements, we have other areas where childcare facilities we could do with. But I think it's important to maybe look at what the progress we have made and be grateful for that. But at the same time, what we have to do is identify where we can continue to develop further. The other, I think, important development, and one of the greatest developments, I think, within the country in general, was the introduction of the ECCE scheme, the Early Childhood Care and Education Scheme. This was introduced, I suppose, at a time when the recession had begun to bite, But the government at the time took a strategic decision to fund a 1 year for preschool children. And I think that has been a tremendous, I suppose, strategic move in terms of the government at the time, but also in terms of the development of children. Because research has shown that every euro you put into preschool has a much more benefit than every euro you put in, say, at second or third level education. Because if you can, say, make a difference early on in a child's life and introduce good habits, good values, good ethos, and that is supported within the home, it can make a tremendous change to children's lives. And I suppose as a County Childcare Committee, that is what we were trying to do. And what we would appeal to the government, and I suppose we will have the Minister Fitzgerald here later with us today, is people talk about Ireland and how we're going to get out of the dire economic situation we're in at the moment. And people say young people are our greatest resource. Young people are our greatest resource. But we as adults and people, say, involved or have any sort of involvement in policy and influence in policy need to take actions around that there and not just pay lip service to it, but be passionate about it. Ensure that if we say young people and children are our greatest resource, that we fund that accordingly and we put our actions where our mouths are. And that is one thing we need to ensure that the government of the day does, that they're not just paying lip service to young people being our greatest resource. We have to support them. And if this country is to move forward, and if we are to develop, and if we are to reach out and become a nation that we're proud of once again, I think we have to support our children and we have to support our young people. And where that starts, it starts at preschool and it starts in the services here in the county right across. Now, also, one of the projects we'll be launching today is our Peace 3 project, which we worked with Donegal County Council under the Peace 3 programme, which was funded on the Special EU Programmes body. And we have Councillor Larkin, the chairperson of the Peace Partnership within the county here today. And we're delighted that he has joined us as a representative of that group. And we'll hear more about that as the day goes on. But finally, just before I ask Avril to give us an outline of developments within the county, within the childcare sector, what I would say to you is, our children are 1/3 of our population, but they're 100% of the future, and they're 100% of the future of this country. And we that's involved in the sector, we must support that, we must build, we must develop, and we must ensure that what our children do and the experience that they have within preschool stands to them for life. We've seen a lot of I suppose, examples of what goes on within the childcare sector. And one of the things we have to do is we have to educate people about what happens there. People think all we're doing there is rubbing snotty noses, tying shoelaces, and ensuring people are sleeping in that. There's a lot of care, education, and development, and there's a lot of seed sowing there. We have to ensure that people value the sector, and we can do that there by getting that message out there. So I hope you enjoy the conference today. I hope you get something from it, and you will go away inspired. And what you can do can make that little difference in some child's and some in the children that you work or have some involvement with.